Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, uh, Tuesday, uh, Tuesday, February the 9th, 2021, and I want to be talking about our school re-entry plan and how we will be dealing with that kind of thing. It's very important that everybody knows what I'm talking about because it's one of the things that's really important, especially in March 20th, 2021. This is where I'm going to be bringing the restrictions and everything that I talked about so far is going to be related, including the March 20th, 2021, that I will be talking about for that kind of thing. So these things are going to be in effect in March 20th, 2021. It's very important that people they start following the rules once the school opens that day. It's very important that people do their best to make sure that they're following the rules and following the health guidelines as much as they can, because this is the most important thing that people need to do. So today I want to be going over some things that will be dealt during the school time and during the school hours, what will be the plan for returning schools. So returning to school has taken on new meanings and new set of worries for parents and others. Has taken on new meaning and new set of worries for parents and others. Caregivers during the age of coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19. School must now balance the educational, social, and emotional needs of their students along with the health and safety of students and staff in the midst of the evolving COVID-19 pandemic. The decision on what school and learning looks like is usually made on the local level by school boards and government officials. Overall, school largely chooses from one of the three options. So distance learning, all instruction is done remotely in this model using technology and other tools. In-person schooling, this model is similar to traditional schooling with enhanced health and safety precautions and procedures. Hybrid schooling, this model includes elements of both distance and in-person schooling. School may adopt one or more approaches during the course of the school year, and pandemic being prepared for a variety of schooling environments can empower you and your child and reduce anxiety in each case. There are steps you can take to reduce the risk of COVID-19, help your child feel safe, and make informed decisions during the COVID-19. So it's very important that uh, that you make the right decision for your kids and everybody, and making sure that everybody understands that, because it's super duper important that people need to do the right thing by following the health rules, by following the health guidelines, and doing what's right to make sure that you're prepared every day, to make sure that you're here every single day. And that's what's really important during the time of COVID-19. I put those restrictions in school restrictions, and they have to be followed by time in by March 20th in that kind of time. So it's very important that people need to understand that and take it very seriously in every way, not joke around with people's health, not joke around with people's stuff. It's very important that people take it very seriously in every way. Those restrictions I put is for people to follow the health guidelines and to do the right thing as much as they can. I did not put those restrictions so people can uh, not do right. And sanitizers will be provided during school days, and during each day you're gonna have to use the hand sanitizers. Well, if you don't have a computer, I advise you to bring your own devices when classes resume on March 20th. It's very important that you bring your own devices and your own belongings, because there will be nothing that will be prepared here. It's very important that you make sure as much as you can that day to bring your own stuff and to bring your own belongings and your own things, because nothing will be provided. The only thing will be provided is hand sanitizers for students to use it during the class, so germs don't be effective. Also, it's very important if you're sick and you're not well, please do not show up in school and please do not give people COVID, not even COVID, even if it's regular flu. We don't need people to get sick. So those are the kind of things that I'm expecting people to watch for during the time of COVID-19, the time of this crisis, right? That's how we're gonna be moving on. People don't follow the health rules and health guidelines on March 20th. Schools are going to be closed again because people are not following the health rules. So it's very important that you do your best. If you plan to come to school, I'm only allowing 5 students. And if you don't come here early, you're not going to have a room. You might have to do online learning if you do not show up on time. So it's very important that you make sure that you show up on time and make sure that you're serious about this and take it very seriously in every way. So that's what's very important during the time of the COVID-19 and during the time of the health crisis. We're trying to limit the spread of COVID-19 and limit the spread of the disease. People need to do the same thing and making sure they do the right thing. I'm going to be moving on now, talking about practices and distancing. Find all this on Google Classroom. I'll be posting it today in Google Classroom, so you make sure that you read this whole thing carefully and make sure that you understand what it's talking about, because those all have to be done during the school, plus the restrictions that I already put in place on December 16th. So practice safe distancing. Social distancing or physical distancing is practice of allowing enough space between individuals to reduce the spread of disease. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDSC) and the World Health Organization recommended keeping at least 6 feet (2 meters) of space between yourself and people outside your household to meet these goals. But that might not be practiced in some schools or with younger children. The American Academy (APP) says following strict physical distancing can conflict with ideal academic, social, and emotional learning standards. It's also not clear how easily COVID-19 spreads among children. So this is really important that we have to practice that in school. If I do not see people are practicing 2 meter distancing during the COVID-19, there will be consequences on this. So it's making sure that you do the 2 meter distancing and you separate from each person. It's expected for you to do that during the time of crisis. If I don't see physical distancing, you're going to be doing online from now on, and you will lose the privilege for coming to school, because it's very simple. If you cannot follow the health rules of the school, you are not going to be in the school. I'm going to be kicking you out, and you might just have to do online learning instead of doing normal uh, going school back school. So it's your choice at the end what decision you make at the end of the day, because whatever decision you make, I don't want people to be sick, and I care about my students. But if you don't care about yourself, then do online learning and don't bother coming to school and making others sick and making others not well in every way. So it's very important that you make sure you do your best by doing the physical distancing and doing what's right. This is an order. This is not something for you to think about or tell me, oh, I don't want to do it. This is something you have to do it, or you will lose the privilege on March 20th. So their steps to encourage social distancing during in-person schooling may include eliminating lockers or grouping them by students, groups, or cohorts, uh, creating one-way traffic in school hallways, using outdoor space when possible for instruction, meals, and recesses, reducing the number of children on school buses, spacing desks out and having them all face in the same direction, using physical barriers such as plexiglass shields and partitionals to separate educators and students, dividing students up into distance groups or cohorts that stay together during the school day, and reducing interactions between different groups. So interaction between different groups, that means that you guys are not going to be working in a group. Everybody's going to be working individual. I'm allowing 5 students only in the school because the school is very small. So each student will be using different corners. I'll give more details by middle of March uh, before the school opens. But now all I'm saying is it's very important that there will be 5 students only in the school. There won't be any more, and we will see in the 5 students how well things get better, right? So it's very important that you do your best by protecting your health, by protecting yourself, and by protecting people around you, and doing the right physical distancing during the time of COVID-19 and during the time of the health crisis. It's very important that you do what you can during the time of COVID-19 and during the time of the health crisis. Okay, so this is all. So divide students up into distance groups and cohorts that stay together during the school days and reduce interactions between different groups. Weighting the risk and benefits of in-person schooling for children may mean different levels of social distancing based on child age and development stage. For example, the APP recommends allowing interactive play for preschoolers while encouraging cohorting of students and face covering for older children. So there's no interactive, there's no having fun with together people. It's not like that. You're gonna come every day for school. You're gonna be sitting in a corner, and then you're not gonna be doing any physical distancing. You're not gonna play with people. You're not gonna have fun. This is not. You're coming here just to learn and to leave. There's no here of interacting, having fun with people. If I see that, you're gonna lose the privilege of coming to the school, and you're gonna be losing the privilege not coming here again. So if you really want to come to school and you want to be coming, then it's very important that there's going to be rules are going to be followed on March 20th. My rules have to be followed, including the rules that I'm reading now. Those are more rules from the government, and they have to also be followed. Hopefully what I'm saying makes sense, and I'm the government too, right? So the rules I'm making, this is part of this government and my government that I'm doing. So people not following the health rules, they're not following the health guidelines. Either I'm going to have to shut this whole school again and we're going to go back to online learning. Either I'm going to dismiss the students that are not following the health rules and they're not going to get the privilege to come to the school again. So it's your choice what decision you make at the end of the day. So wearing a mask. The CDC and the WHO recommend wearing cloth face mask in public places where it is difficult to avoid close contact with others, and schools are no exceptions. This advice is based on data showing that people with COVID-19 can transmit the virus before realizing that they have it. If your child's school requires or encourages the use of cloth face masks, consider these tips. Wearing cloth face masks should be priority, especially when it's hard to maintain social distancing, such as on the bus, at a car drop off a pickup, and when entering the building. Have multiple cloth face masks available for your child. Provide your child with a clean mask and backup mask for each day, and clean, reusable bags for them to restore the mask when they can't wear it, such at lunch. Label your child mask clearly so it's not confused with another child. Practice properly putting on and taking off cloth face mask with your child while avoiding touching the cloth portion. Remind your child that they should clean their hands before after touching their mask. Instruct your child to never share or trade masks with others. Talk to your child about the importance of wearing a face mask and a model wearing them as a family. So it's very important that I don't see also that during the school hours. I do not see wearing mask and you have it out and you're not wearing it and you're not serious about it. You're gonna be kicked out. Any of these rules you're not following, there will be consequence for this. Okay, because there are gonna be other students that really want to come to the school and they want to learn like you and they want to enjoy it also. But if I don't see you doing your part every day and I don't see that you are um, you're caring about others, then you're not gonna come here because you're not just coming to the school to make people sick and make people not well, and this is not fair for others. If people care about you, you have to show the same caring for others and doing the right thing uh, by not doing these things or harming people or doing anything that is going to cause issues with other people. Because nobody in the room will want to have somebody who doesn't want to follow the health rules and follow the health guidelines of the provincial government and the government I'm ruling here. Very important, you follow the health rules and you do what's right. So keep hands clean. It's very important that you keep your hands clean the whole time. Practice hand washing at home with your child and explain why it's important to wash his or her hand with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, especially before and after eating, coughing, sneezing, or adjusting a face mask. To prevent rushing, suggest washing hands for as long as it takes to sing the happy birthday song twice. When hand washing isn't available, suggest that your child use an alcohol-based hand sanitizers that contains at least 60% alcohol. Also explain that he or she should avoid touching his or her eyes, nose, and mouth. Schools should encourage routines that encourage frequent hand washing and following good hand hygiene practice, such as asking children to cover their mouth and nose with their elbows or tissues when they cough or sneeze, and then washing their hands. If you if your child attends in-person school learning, develop daily routines before and after school that foster health habits such as packing up face masks and hand sanitizers in the morning and washing their hands as soon as they come home. Very important that you do that. You bring your own belongings and you bring your own things. During the school and during the time of the school, it's very important that you have more than 2 pairs of masks because one pair might not be good enough during the school, so you might need maybe another pair. You're going to need some kind of thing. So it's very important that you make sure that you pack the mask and you pack everything to have it ready for that day, so you are ready for that. It's super duper important. So make sure you pack, because I'm not going to be providing masks or any of these things. Just make sure you provide your own mask and bring it to the school. It's not my job to provide these things. You can buy them anywhere. It doesn't have to be fabric. It can be paper mask. There's so much mask that you can buy, right? Whatever that you can afford, you use that and make sure you have it. Or you won't be able to enter the school if I don't see you wearing a mask. Whether your child is being schooled at home or at school, cleaning and disinfecting frequently touching surfaces can help reduce the risk of illness. This includes frequently touched items such as doorknobs, keyboards, tablets, and phones. You should monitor your child each day for signs of COVID-19. These include fever, nasal congestion, cough, sore throat, shortness of breath, fatigue, headache. All these symptoms, please do not come to school if you have any of these things. Please stay home. Right? I don't want to be fighting with parents and students because they're not listening and following the health rules. If you cannot come to the school and you can't, if you're not well, please stay home. At least care for others. Don't make others get sick and make them not well. School is not for coming to make people sick and to make them not well. It's coming to learn, to benefit. That's what's really important, and that's what I suggest people to do. That's the right thing for people to do and follow the health rules. But don't go and make sure you go and give people sickness and make them not well, because this is not respecting. That's not respecting people, and that's just being rude and careless. So make sure you do that. I don't want to be having COVID cases like other schools. Now we heard so many COVID cases in school in Edmonton and in Calgary and everywhere in Alberta and across the country. I don't want to be closing schools just because there are cases, right? But if people don't follow the health rules, I'm just gonna you will lose the privilege not coming to school. I'm not going to be like the other schools allowing you to come every day, and I don't do that. You can follow the health rules, and you can follow um you can follow the health rules. You can follow the health guidelines. Then you're gonna stay home. That's my ability I can do. But yes, I can do more than that. I can't tell if you have COVID or you don't have COVID. You can come to school and have COVID and still wear a mask and all that. We still like if nothing is 100%. But my ability, my rules have to be followed. If I don't see them being followed, you will lose that privilege to come to the school. So if you really want to come to the school, and I'm only allowing 5 students. So if you come very late before everybody comes, you're not going to be able to have a room here. I'm not allowing more than 5 students because still we have the COVID. Things are not getting better. Until things get better, five people are only going to be allowed. Whoever comes first, that person takes the spot. It's that simple. So make sure you do your best as much as you can by following the health rules and following the health guidelines as much as you can. Some schools may recommend daily temperature reading as a part of COVID-19 symptom screen, but since many of these symptoms overlap with other conditions such as in common cold, allergies, and influenza, the effectiveness of this screening can be limited. To limit the spread of COVID-19 as well as other germs, children should stay home from school and other activities if they have any signs of illness or fever. Contact your doctor if you have any questions. I just talked about that. If I see any, if you have any symptoms, please tell me. Don't go and make other people sick because we all won't know if you have it or you don't have it. Vaccination is one of the important things that people are gonna have to take to come to the school, even including me because I'm the teacher and the government. So it's very important that I take it. So don't skip vaccination. Whether classes are happening at school or at home, make sure your child is up to date with the recommended vaccine. All school age children should get a flu shot each season. Getting a flu vaccine is especially important this season because the flu and COVID-19 causing similar common signs and symptoms. Although the flu shot does not protect against COVID-19, it can reduce the risk of the flu and its complication. It's another layer of defense to help prevent missed school days. So make sure as much as you can you take the vaccine. In order for you to be in this school, it's very important that you make sure that you take the vaccine and you do the right thing. Because if I don't see people taking the vaccine, sorry, you're not welcome in this school. A vaccine is what protects and what it does, and people need to do the right thing by protecting themselves and making sure that they take the vaccine to make things safe and to make everything become safe. If I don't see that, then please don't come to school just to go and make people sick and make people not well, right? Vaccine will be part of the restrictions that I announced on December 16th. You can even go back to that video and see what I said that day. It is the same restrictions that I put, including the vaccines, are mandatory for everybody to take. So make sure that you take it, and you have to take it when school opens on March 20th. Although the flu shot does not protect against COVID-19, it can reduce the risk of flu and its complication. It's another layer of defense to help prevent the missed school days. What So we talked about the clean, keeping hands clean and all that stuff. So it's very important that your hands always has to be clean in every way and every form. It's very important that you make sure that your hands are clean, that everything is clean. And that's what's more important. Keep physical distancing, 2 meters distance. Pretty much everything that I talked about right now is very important that people follow the health rules and they follow the health guidelines as much as they can. Because this is kind of thing, please, if you can't handle this, it's better you stay home and you do online learning because that can help you. Maybe that's better for you. It's not better for a lot of people, but it is better if you cannot you cannot show symptoms and everything's not going that well. So it's very important that you make sure that um, you do what's right because some people just can't handle the health rules, they can't handle the health guidelines, they can't handle a lot of stuff, and that's a huge problem. And at the end of the day, I care about my students' health, right? If your health it matters a lot and it's really important, and it's not something that you should be joked around in any way. Some people they take the health as a joke, but really seriously, it's no joke. Health is no, it's not fun, and it's no joke. It's a serious thing, and people need to really wake up on this and see how important health because that's what makes us do everything we can each day and makes us have the ability to enjoy life, to do what we can. If we don't take our health seriously, there's no coming back to this again or whatever it is. So it's very important that please people need to wake up from this and to do what's right and to follow the health rules and to follow the health guidelines. And it's very important that you make sure that doesn't matter what happens, but you do what's right. That's what I'm expecting people to do because uh, opening school on March 20th is it's not easy for me to open it. This was a hard decision, but I opened it because a lot of parents didn't want to go back, and everybody wants to go back, and all that. And that's why I decided to open it for that reason. For a reason to allow people to enjoy their life and to enjoy their time and to enjoy everything. So it's very important that you make sure you do what you can at the end of the day and don't joke around with this at all. So please, as much as you can, follow the health rules, follow the health guidelines, and take it very seriously. And please do not joke around with it. Don't joke around with it at all. And it does not matter what the outcome is at the end of the day. It's very important you have the idea of following the health and safety of the people is very important. Because as long as you're following the health and the safety of the people, that's what's really important. That shows me how much you care about the people, right? That's what matters at the end of the day. Is not what matters doesn't mean uh, I do this or I do that, right? It's very important that you have to make sure as much as you can saying I can do it, and that's what it is at the end of the day, because people they just thinking life is life is life is life. Life is not life, right? At the end of the day, we are in this COVID. For us to get through all this together, we have to do our part at the end of the day. That's what's really important. We have to do our part because if we don't do our part, it's a big problem. I don't want people to be surprised at the end of the day and they don't know what's happening or what was the best idea for me to deal with something. It doesn't work that way. So hopefully, what I'm talking about today, it really makes sense to people and really makes people grow up and understand and really because people not wearing masks, not wearing things, even though we have vaccines now, is not gonna solve any of the problem if we do not do what's right for ourselves and if we do not protect ourselves and we don't do the thing that we need to do because at the end of the day it's what we can do and what we need to do at the end of the day and how much effort we put at the end of the day. That's what really matters. And that's why I expect everybody to do that same thing and to make sure that they are following the health rules, they are following the health guidelines as my teacher and the government to make sure that my students are doing the right thing on March 20th, not doing anything to make other people sick or all that. I'm a responsible person. I expect people to be responsible also. You're not responsible, you lose that privilege of coming to school. So it is that simple at the end of the day. Anyways, like I said, I talked about a lot of stuff so far. But I'm gonna continue reading this whole thing, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna be going into today's homework. We're supposed to have a quiz today, but I'll push it till tomorrow because I didn't even work on the quiz. And we will have our unit exam on February the 12th, and that will be on Friday. Okay, so now I'm gonna be moving on, talking about other things. I'm almost done, anyways. If your child will be attending in-person school, take steps to be prepared for possible exposures to COVID-19 and changing scenarios. Develop a plan to protect family and household members who are at risk of severe illness, such as those with compressed immune system or chronic conditions. Make sure that your emergency contact information and school pickups and drop off information in current at school. If that list includes anyone who is at risk of illness, consider adding an alternate contact. Find out your school will communicate with families when a positive case or exposure to someone with COVID-19 happens and how they plan to maintain students' privacy. Plan ahead for periods of quarantine or school closures. Schools may close if COVID-19 is spread more in your community or if multiple children, multiple children or staff test positive. Your child may also need to stay home if he or she is exposed to a close contact with COVID-19. Following these steps can help you feel assured that your child is as safe as possible during the COVID-19 pandemic. For more information on what measures for your local school are taking to reduce the risk of illness, check with your local school district or health agency. So making sure that you follow the health rules and you follow the health guidelines like I talked about today is very important. Vaccines is very important if you want to be in schools. If you don't take vaccine, you're not going to be in school because vaccine at least will do the part so not everybody gets exposed and not everybody gets the disease or the COVID-19. So making sure that you do that and making sure that you don't get the health risk or anything happens, it's very important that you do that as much as you can. And making sure that again you maintain the physical distancing and making sure that you follow all the health rules of this government and the provincial government. It's very important that you do all the what you can at the end of the day and not really waste time of whatever, right? Now this is just all information of health and guidelines that I'm just talking about. Now I'm going to be moving on talking about school and talking about yesterday um, I posted a registration form and a survey. So hopefully it's due on Friday at 3 p.m. So make sure that you be done by Friday because it needs to be due by Friday. You need to make sure you hand it in by that time. If it's not handed in that time, it's going to be a problem. So make sure you do your best to make sure you hand it in by Friday at 3 p.m. So that will be 3 o'clock p.m. You make sure that you hand it in. If it's not handed in by then we won't know what help you need, what help you don't need. So it's very important to do this registration so we know how much you like this course, how much you're willing to understand, what marks are you planning to receive. So there's a lot of questions in that survey that I want people to answer, making sure that you understand what the survey says and you do the survey and make sure you hand it in by Friday. So that's one thing that is also for homework for you to do. Also, we didn't do the quiz today, but we are pretty much done unit one. I didn't do videos for the first three nouns and linking verb and all the grammars that we talked about the last couple of days and I assigned for homework. There was no explanation for these grammars or videos. So today there will be explanation and uh, uh, more understanding of it. I'm going to be going now talking um, about so I'm going to be talking about the verbs and the phrases and everything that you need to know for grammar. So for unit one, so this is noun. So we're going to start with the grammar of the noun. So a noun is a name, a person, place, thing, or idea. A concrete noun names an object that can be recognized by any of these sense. An abstract noun names of an idea, a quality, or a characteristic. A pronoun name of a particular person, place, thing, or idea. A common noun is the general name of a person, place, thing, or idea. So a noun we all know is just has to do with something or a thing or a place or a name or anything that has to do with a noun. So if I give a name, for example, a John is a name, so is a noun. If I give example, for example, a house, so a house is a verb. If I give any kind of form of any kind of thing, it has to be a name or even a human, right? Or a human being can be also a noun, right? Or a thing. If I say a pencil also is a noun. It's not a verb. A place is a verb because it describes the thing. Anything that has to describe the thing, it will be a verb, and that's what a verb is. So it's very important you know between the verb and you know between the noun what's the difference between the two. So so underlining, I'm going to be doing some of the examples. This is the homework that people should have done a couple of days ago. I'm just reviewing because there was no video for this. So, abstract noun, name, an idea, a quality, or a characteristic. So, it's a name of idea. So, it's again a name that has to do with an idea. Noun doesn't have to do nothing with an idea. It's a thing or an idea also. Yes, it is. So, name of idea, a quality or a characteristic. So, it's a quality. Quality is how things are, like how good things are, how an item is good, or any, it doesn't have to be an item, but anything that has to do with how much this is, or how good this book is, or how good this pencil is, or the latest computer, this the best quality computer that I have. So it has to do with any of these things, for example. So this is what um, abstract noun is. So when I ask you in the exam what abstract noun is, so you have to tell me has to do with a quality. Don't get confused with a noun and abstract noun because it's different. A noun is just a name and it's a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. But an abstract noun is a name and an idea. There's no place involved in abstract noun and has to do with a quality or a characteristic. So it's a quality how much thing is, and a characteristic is the human being or how a thing is. A collective noun name of a group and can be regarded as either a singular or plural noun. Singular is one, so we're just talking about one person or one thing. That's a singular noun. A plural noun is many of them, so many nouns, talking about a group of people, a group of noun, a group of things. So that is the difference between a singular noun and a plural noun. This is the difference that you have. An abstract noun, again, is name and idea, is the quality, and is the heuristic. Quality is how much the thing is or how good the thing is. A heuristic is a human being or the way the people think. So underline the nouns in the following sentence. So you guys are gonna tell me this. I don't have answer key to this, so you have to make sure. Let me see if there's answer yet. Oh, there is. There isn't. Okay, so making sure it's just your own understanding. There's no right answer to this. It's very important that you understand this, because if you're not doing these questions for the exam, you're not going to prepare. It's not memorization, it's also understanding. It's very important that people know what they're talking about. We're going to do noun, then we're going to do interpret now. Okay, so underline the nouns in the following sentence. During the early years of the United States, thousands of settlers traveled west to build new homes. So where is the noun here? The noun, it will be during is a verb, is not a noun. And United States, again, it has to do with a place. So you look at it, yes, it's place. So United States is a place, is a country, has to do with a place. So it's a noun. This is a noun. Settlers travel. So settlers is a thing, right? Build a new home. A home is also a noun because it's a thing. So traveled is a verb. So you don't get confused and tell me settlers traveled. You're gonna tell me that is a noun, and it isn't, because this is describing the settlers when they travel. We can learn more about verbs, but this is verb. This is not a noun. So number two, women and men worked together to clear the land, plant crops, and build homes. So again, woman is a noun. Men is a noun. Build homes is a noun. So I can catch here a lot of nouns here. Plant crops is not a noun, it's a verb. Clear land, land is also a noun because it is a place. Together is a verb. So it's very important that like these grammars is very important you understand them, because this is what makes English language, and this is what makes you understand English. Especially when you do grade 11 English, you're going to learn more grammars. And if you don't have the basics of grade 10 English, you're not going to be able to do grade 11 English, because it's going to be a little bit different. So, number three, besides this work, women tends the children and did housekeeping chores. Women is a noun. Children is also a noun because it's a name. Housekeeping is not a noun. Besides is not a noun. Work is also a verb. All these are verb except women and children and housekeeping. Those are the three that are nouns. Number four, they prepared food to use during the winter. So here there's no noun. They is a verb. Prepared is a verb. Food is a verb. And actually, food is a noun because it's a thing. Anything has to do with a thing. Is a food is the only thing that's a noun. To use during the winter is not a noun at all. This is all a verb. Okay, and there's other stuff too, not only verb, but there's other stuff. We're gonna get to it. Okay, and then now we're gonna be doing number five. They made clothes for the whole family and used homemade soap to wash the laundry. So again, clothes is not is a noun. Family is a noun. Homemade soap is not a noun. Laundry is a noun. They is not a noun. And used is not a noun. For the whole is not a noun. To wash is not a noun. So make sure that you're able to get the nouns and the verbs. And it's very important that you understand those terms, the nouns, the verbs, how you put them together. It's very important that you make sure you understand that. Number six, upfront her mother was often the only teacher her children had. So teacher is a noun because it's a person. Children is also a noun. Front her mother is also a noun. Often is not a noun, is a verb. The only is a verb. At is a verb. Her is a verb. So make sure you don't get confused between noun and verb and all that. Because I will ask you, what is a verb? What is a noun? When you do the unit exam on Friday, You're gonna have to tell me the difference between verb nouns because the second topic is gonna talk about verbs, and you have to know what verbs are and what nouns are. You don't get confused because not gonna help you in the exam. Because they were few doctors, women had to take care of the medical need of their families. So doctors is a verb. Women, no, doctors, yes, is a verb. Women is a noun. Medical needs is a verb. Families is a noun. So there's only two nouns here. Again, it's very important that you pay attention and you be careful. You pick which one is the noun, which one is the verb, which one whatever. So it's very important that you make sure that you understand the nouns, the verbs, and everything. So number 8, settlers usually lived so far apart from that isolation was a common problem. Settlers are a noun. Isolation is not a noun. Usually lived is not a noun. Apart is not a noun. Common problem is not a noun. So you just have only one noun here. So there's going to be maybe one noun, two nouns. They might even give you a sentence without any nouns. So you have to figure out if there's a noun, there's no noun, if there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to have to tell me that. So number 9, sometimes pioneer families become friends with Native Americans who live nearby. So families is a noun, friends is a noun, Native Americans is a noun because Americans is the people living nearby. Live nearby is a verb. So you have to tell me, you have to know which one is that. Number 10, to help fight loneliness, many women wrote journals and diaries about their lives and experience. So woman is a noun. Diaries is not a noun. It's a thing. Diaries actually is a noun because it's a thing. It's a book. So a book, a house, apartment, anything that has to do with that is going to be announced. So making sure that you guys pay attention and making sure that you know which one is a noun, which one is not a noun. So that's what it is. Loneliness is not a noun. It's not a noun. It's a verb. So it doesn't have to do anything with a noun. To help pipe is a verb. Wrote journal is a verb. Okay, about their lives is a verb. And experience is a verb. So make sure you understand that. From the noun you identified in the sentence above, list the examples for each type of noun. So hopefully everybody did this and was able to answer because the definitions are right here. You don't even have to look for it. So collective noun we already talked about. But in the exam, all these words I want you to not use from the book. And there's no cheating allowed. You have to use your own words. You're gonna have to tell me what a collective noun in your own words, what is abstract noun is in your own words, concrete noun in your own words, common nouns in your own words, and proper noun in your own words. Those nouns you cannot tell me from the book. That's how I'm gonna know you're cheating in the exam because I have my book open and I will see who's cheating, who's not. So it's very important that you do not cheat. Your webcam has to be on. That's one of the things I didn't talk about still. So a collective noun, we know the collective noun has to do with a group, or it can be a singular or plural nouns. That's what a common noun, collective noun is. And we already talked about the collective noun and we talked about it early, right? Abstract noun, we talked about it has to be name and idea and has to do with a quality and a characteristic. Is not place, thing, is not a name, place, and a thing. That's not the definition for abstracted noun if you get confused with that. You have to tell me what's the difference between abstracted noun and the noun itself. You can be getting confused the two. And that's what abstracted noun is. Concrete noun. Concrete noun is the name of object in any sense. So it's the name of an object. Don't get object between a group or a thing or a quality. You have to tell me the difference between all of them and making sure that you understand each one of them. And then proper noun. We didn't talk about proper noun yet, but proper noun is the name of a particular person, place, thing, or idea. So teacher, uh, nurse, doctor, anything that has to the person has that title of, that will be a proper noun. So making sure that you take these things very seriously and making sure you understand them is very important. It's very important for you to pass this course if you really want to pass this course. Paying attention is very important. So I told you all the definitions for each one is very important. You do it on your own for your homework. Study it because I'm not going to ask you the same definitions in the exam. It's going to be different definitions and you have to figure out which one it is and which one isn't. So now we're going to be moving on talking about interrogative and relative pronouns. So still we're talking about nouns, but now we're talking about pronouns, so that's different than the nouns that we were talking about. It's not kind of the same thing that we were talking about before. So hopefully people understand what I'm talking about and not really wasting uh, my time at all, right? Because doing those nouns and doing those interrogative nouns is very important for people to really understand and really take it seriously and not joke around with it, because the people out there that are really joking around with the nouns and the pronouns and the interrogative nouns and all these nouns that we just talked about now, right? So I'm going to be moving on now talking about the interrogative noun. So it gives you a sentence now. So it says questions are formed with interrogative pronouns. Who, whom, whose, which, what. So who is coming to dinner? That will be interrogative pronouns. They're giving you an example. So you're able to do the homework. There's examples. Homework needs to be done. Whose key are these? That's again a pronoun. A related pronoun is used at the beginning of a special group of words that contains its own subject and verb, and it's called a subordinate clause. Okay, so it's very important. It's called a subordinate clause. And then people just need to understand that, right? Subordinate clause is that's what it's talking about. So underline the pronouns in each of the following sentence, then write whether the pronoun is an interrogative or relative. Whose family audience for the lead? So this is so a question. See, this is all, and a related pronoun is used at the beginning of a special group of a word, contains its own subject and verb, and is called a subordinate clause. So the example: the woman who won the marathon is 35. Whoever works hardest will get promoted. So that's what it is. So again, who finally auditioned for the lead role? So that will be what? A pro interrogative pronouns, or it will be a relative pronouns. What's the difference? We just talked about it. So whose family audience is the lead in the role? So that will be a relative pronoun. No, not relative, sorry, interrogative pronoun. That's what it will be. So I answered the first one for you. The second one, the explosion that shook the town was caused by an error at the factory. That will be what? So it will be what? The expansion. The woman who won the marathon is 35, so that will be a relative. When you see the, so you know it is a relative pronoun. When you see majority of the time who, that will be a interrogative pronoun. So you don't get confused. I just gave you a hint now. So in the exam, so you're able to understand which one is the difference here and not get confused of any of them at the end of the day. So it's very important that you do actually pay attention and not joke around with it at all. So that's what it is. So that's what an interrogative pronoun is, and the normal pronoun is, and it's very important you get you understand between the two. Now we're going to be moving to number three. So number three talks about the barn, which was pointed red, stood the field of daisies. So that will be a relative pronoun because again it's used in the beginning of the special group of a word that contains its own subject and verb and is called a subordinate clause. So anything has to do with the clauses again is a relative pronoun. What have you done to make uh, Angle so angry? So again, what? Who, right? So again, whose keys are these? What have you done to make Angle? So again, that is an interrogative pronoun. Because again, what he has done, what he did. So that all has to do with interrogative pronoun. Ben is trying to decide whom to ask for helping with his biology. So again, this is a relative pronoun because he's asking for how he's gonna get help in biology. So again, that has to do with a relative pronoun. So you don't get confused between the two, between the relative and between the normal pronoun. Using an appropriate interrogative pronoun to turn each of the following statement into question. Write your new interrogative sentence in the space provided. So, Kendall called me last night. So that is what? Kendall called me last night. So that will be a relative, that will be an interrogative pronoun. Using interrogative pronouns is all interrogative. This is the quickest way to get the cafeteria. So you have to turn into a question. So you say why is Kendall calling at nighttime? So that's a question because you have to change this. So it says Kendall called me last night. You have to ask question why she would call why she would call Kendall at nighttime. So why Kendall called at nighttime? So that's a question. This is the quickest way to get to the cafeteria. Or you can say, is there another way you can get to the cafeteria? Or you can say, is there another way to get to the cafeteria? That's a question. There are my sisters, gents. Who are your sister? That's a question. I wouldn't like to have lasagna for my birthday dinner. Why would I have lasagna for my birthday dinner? See, so I just changed the sentence, and that's what grammar is. The Pulsar Prize is named after Joseph Pulsar. Why does Joseph Pulsar Prize is named after Joseph? So all these, you can either use why, or you can use any other grammar, but it really makes sense. Now we're going to be moving on to adverbs. We're moving good. Now I'm doing great 3 topics. So action, verb, and verb phrase. Action verb tells what someone or something does, either physical or mental. So the ball slammed into the cashier mittens. The child dreamed of cotton candy. So these are examples that it gives you for what to use, especially when it comes to the grammar of English. This gives you an example of what to use and how to use it in every way. So the ball slammed into the car's mittens. The child dreamed of cotton candy. That's an example. And transitive action verb are followed by words that answer the question, what or whom. We finally spotted our mistake. Spotted what? That's a question. What eventually invited Katie? Invited whom? So this they turn it into a question. And then intransitive action verb are not followed by the word that answers what or whom. Instead, they are frequently followed by words that tell when, where, why, or how an action occurred. Something, sometimes saying in the shower, saying where. That's a question. Marx Twain wrote with great wit. Wrote how? See, these are questions. A verb phrase consists of a man verb and all of its auxiliary or helping verb. The ice was melting quickly in the sun. He did remember to order French fries. So all these are very so when it comes to distinguishing between transitive and intransitive verbs, underline the entire action verb including all. verbs in each of the following sentence. Then write whether the verb is transitive or intransitive. So sailboats have the right of way over motorboats. So again, is that transitive, or you can question, right? Transitive or transitive? I can read transitive again. Intransitive. Action verbs are not allowed. Uh, Action verbs are not followed by words that answer what or whom. Instead, they are frequently followed by words that when, where, why, or how. So they give you hints here. So when, where, why, or how. So, and transit action verbs are followed. We finally spotted what? We finally, right? And then the action verb uses where, followed by the words I told you when, where, why. So why? Syllables have the right of way to over motorboats. So is that going to be transitive, or let's see now. We use the word we. We have the right of way over the motorboats. Yes, it works out. So that is a transitive for the first one. The careful truck driver slowed noticeably in the rain and snow. So that is a transitive or intransitive verb. So the careful truck driver slowed noticeably in the rain and snow. So that will be whom did the truck driver slow noticeably in the rain and snow. So that will be the intransitive action. So see, I can answer it. So if I can answer, you guys can answer, but it has to do with paying attention and knowing the right thing, because that's what's really important, that people need to really pay attention and really understand, because if you don't understand, it's going to be a big problem in the exam, especially tomorrow's quiz. You're going to be tested on this, right? And the unit exam is going to be more of this. So um, make sure you study tonight so tomorrow you're prepared for the quiz. Although the quiz is supposed to be scheduled today, but I didn't make the time to work on it. Hopefully by tomorrow it will be ready for you to do. So that's what it is. Okay. Okay, let's move on now. So the truck driver slows, right? We read answer that one. The Chinese pandas should attract many visitors to the zoo. So the Chinese what? So again, it's intransitive or intransitive. So who did the Chinese pandas? Who? No, it doesn't work that way. We should attract many visitors to the zoo. So that is not in transitive. So this is transitive, okay. And then architects began their work long before that start of the construction. So architects began their work long before the start of construction. So that is what? Transitive or intransitive. Let's see. The transitive action verbs are followed by words that answer the question of what or whom. So whom did the architects whom did the workers long before the start? Um, uh, we began the work long before the start of construction. So that is again transitive because it's using we. Actually, we is intransitive. No, it's intransitive. So we, yeah. So we it is. Okay. Um, so most of the actions have already learned their lines. You can use the word whom or you can use the word when. Or we can see whom did the actors have already, whom most actors know. Where did the actors have already learned their signs? So where, so it's interactive um, verb, okay. And then the new compact discs will arrive to the store tomorrow. So um, we will arrive in the store tomorrow. So that is Transitive. The ball landed only 6 inches from the hole. Whom did the ball landed? No. Whom did the ball land? No. Where? Why? Why did this? No. Why? Well, why 6 inches from the hole? Why 6 inches from the hole? So there's again. So if you ask him, well, why, that will be interactive. The screen of fresh sheets welcomes the hotel guest every night. Whom the screen sheets welcome to the hotels last night, so that will be interactive. Did you simply guess on the last question? Why did you guess on the last question? A blues, so that's interactive. A blues singer does not always sing songs. Why does not? No. We always sing the songs. So see, this is a question. So this is an answer, a question and answer. So you make sure that you understand this very well, because you will be tested on all this. So using verb and making sure that you understand, right? So using action verb. Underline the verb in each of the following sentence, then write a more livable verb that adds interest to the sentence. So Jeff walked home slowly in a gray January light. So using action verb, when we talked about action verb. So action verb tells what someone or something does, either physical or mentally. So that's what action verb is. So Jeff walked home slowly to get in a gray January light. So that will be right. If it's a livable verb, add interest sentence. So underline the following action, right? If it's a livable verb that adds interest to the sentence. So Jeff walked home slowly in a gray, so that will be action verb. The pharmacist fell towards the ground. That will be also because physically he fell in towards the ground, so he hurt himself as physical, so it's action verb also. The police car drove by the high speed, so mentally he's not thinking, well, he's driving high speed and he shouldn't, so that'll be action verb. During the last month, the storm hail hit our roof loudly. So that I say it's just normal verb. Those three girls talk consciously. So it's also a verb, it's not whatever, right? So linking verb. So linking verb is a joint that subject a sentence with a word or expression that identifies or describes the subject. The most common used linking verb is to be in all forms. Am, is, are, was, were, will be, has been, was, being. All these are linking verbs. So make sure you understand what linking verb is, has to do anything with these words. So underline the verb in each of the following sentences, then write whether it is an action verb or a linking verb. And I already talked about the action verb. Now this is the linking verb turn. So again, uh, so many people admire Andrew Jackson. So that will be what? Will it be a linking verb or it will be an action verb that we're going to be using? So that will be linking for many people. So any of these words says so where people admire Jackson. So this is a linking verb because it's a question. You can make this into a question. So you can say where people admired. So you take the word, the first word, and you change it, and were people admired by Andrew Jackson. So you're questioning that, right? He came from California, pine woods. So so you can use any of these words. Um, so So, so we can't use that. So we can have to use become. So stay, no, no. So we're gonna say the most common words right are is and am, right? So he came from the uh, Cor- Carolina pine woods. So from he came he came he came from he came from Car he came from the Carolina. So instead of erasing many, so he came. So uh, he he was from Carolina pine cone. So he was, or he is from the Carolina pine cone. So this is where, so he is not only this word, but any word you can change it from the sentence and replace it and see if you can find something that makes sense here, right? So that's what it is, right? He eventually became a president. So again, uh, he was, yeah, he was, he no, he uh, he being a president, he became a president, right? He became, and there's no became here. It's let's see if he this anywhere else. If he he become a president. Yeah, he become a president, so that will be not linking verb the other one. Okay, so it's very important that you use these kind of words to help you. Later, he built a house near Nashville. So later he built, later he built a house near Nashville. No, later, uh, later he, later, no, okay. Later he stayed, later he stayed, later he, later he, later he built, later he appeared a house, later he looked a house, later he smelled a house, no, later was, later he has built, later he has a house near, later he has a house near Nashville. See, this takes time. This is not easy just to answer. It takes me time just to figure out the words, but you're going to be tested on that. Tourists still visit it today. So tourists were, tourists appear, tourists still, tourists still, tourists was, tourists are visit, no, tourists fell, visit, tourist taste, tourist grows, tourist stay, visit today, no, tourist stay, tourist visit was, tourist appeared, tourist looked, yeah, tourist they look, so again, tourist look, tourist still, tourists still look at today. Tourists still look at today. Still in English. So I'm not gonna go through all of it. Time's up. Anyways, class is over. But hopefully people did the homework and make sure that they understand it very well, because it's very important that you really understand and you take it very seriously and don't joke around with your life alone, right? Make sure you're doing the homework regularly. Make sure you understand it regularly. And I already talked about the COVID and the restrictions. And tomorrow I'm going to be talking more about this. Make sure you do the registration form, and make sure you do the homework tonight, and make sure you understand when you're doing the homework. It's very important that you do everything what you can and make sure you do everything that you understand. Hopefully people understand what I'm talking about. It was a long conversation, one long talk, but hopefully people understand what I'm talking about. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. And stay safe and stay healthy and do the homework. I will assign more homework tonight for you to do. So please those do the pages, and I'll see you tomorrow.